You're listening to Convenience Matters, brought to you by NAX. We'll talk about what we see at stores and what the future may hold for our industry.
Fuel, food, fun. I bet you all wish you could have that tagline, but you can't because somebody else does. That's Wakepoint LBJ. They were featured in Ideas to Go at the NAX show last year. We'll dive a little bit more into what they're all about. Joining us today for the conversation are two folks with Wakepoint LBJ. Scott Westlund, who is owner of the Wakepoint LBJ plus much more, and Jody Bowers, who's the CFO for the company. So welcome, gentlemen.
Thank you, Jeff. Appreciate the opportunity to talk with you.
Yeah, thank you for having us on.
In the video, it's a little easier to see everything going on, but Scott, I'll start with you. How would you describe what your vision of Wakepoint LBJ was, and how did it become what it is?
Yeah, so I think the slogan or tagline for Wakepoint says it all. Fuel, food, fun. The location of Wakepoint is super unique. It's on super busy highway out on Lake LBJ, just outside of Austin, Texas. 1431 is the highway. And then it's at the point where two rivers, one being the Llano River, one the Colorado River, meet to form Lake LBJ, which is probably one of the most popular lakes in Central Texas. And so, I'd been going out to Lake LBJ, probably 15, 20 years ago for a number of years, and had my eye on that site because I thought the location was tremendous and being underutilized. And they had an old convenience store that had a pump with a hose that could barely get down to the lake. They had a couple pumps at a convenience store that was dilapidated. And so the vision was to do something for the community, to bring the community in, and to really just capitalize on that location and bring everything together, whether it be a convenience store on the lake, whether it be really do something cool with a new convenience store on the road. And then obviously we have an event space. Now we have a restaurant, a bar, and we have commercial offices above. It all stemmed from the location and how to really just capitalize on that location to, the saying is highest best use of the property. And that's really how the vision started.
So that makes sense if you hear a story from somebody who's been in retail decades. That's how they think. However, you're a managing partner at a law firm.
That's true.
Your thought process is a little unique. How did you decide that, hey, you know what? Retail sounds like it's in my blood.
Yeah, so I guess it goes back to even like I grew up on another lake in Austin. It's Lake Travis, and grew up on the lake. There was a great concept back when I was in high school and college, and it was a marina, and they had fuel. They had a great restaurant and bar concept, and then they would have live entertainment. And I just spent my summers there, waiting tables, bartending, and help manage while I was going through law school and undergrad. And it was just a great time. It was a place where, especially during the season, people would come together, great concerts, great food, great bars, and just a great environment. And it was just some of the best times growing up. And so when I had the opportunity to really look in and kind of, expand away from the law firm, it's something I'd had my eye on and wanted to build on what had been a great experience for me growing up and just expand on it at what turned out to be a fantastic location, that being Wakepoint.
Yeah, it really is. And Jody, it's a fantastic location from whichever direction you're coming from, whether you're coming from the major road or whether you're coming from the lake. What is, can you describe that customer experience, that it's not all year round that you have people coming from the lake, but you literally have two front doors to this entertainment plus type gas station convenience store plus.
We do. We have the stability of the main convenience store being open year round. A great experience in there is very a little more modern looking than most convenience stores. Unique appeal to it. Plenty of fuel pumps out front. Easy ingress and egress. And then you mentioned really the heart of Wakepoint is during the lake season, which runs from March 1st through the end of September. And the lake, as Scott mentioned, it really is one of the best bodies of water in Central Texas, if not the state. And so you have the location is just so unique because you do have, that's where the Colorado River and the Llano River meet to form, the basis for Lake LBJ. And Lake LBJ, if people don't know, is a constant level lake, which is very unique. And so if people are, in the towboat sports, wake surfing, wakeboarding, just boating in general, it's a really great family atmosphere on that lake. And that's what we wanted Wakepoint to do, is cater to the family and have those good experiences, both inside the convenience store and also whether they're attending an event at Wakepoint, live music, etc., or out in the open air restaurant we have. We just want to make it a great family atmosphere, provide great service, at an appropriate price, and give the people of that area another option on the water.
So do you describe some of these customers that may be coming from, as I said, there's two essentially entrances. There's the main entrance that it's beautiful. That's where the forecourt is.
Right.
But if you come from the other side, you see an entirely different experience. You see the bar, you see another convenience store,
Right.
You see another shop, you see the concert, you see the concert area, you see barbecue. Describe what some customers, their reactions or what they tell you when they walk in that front door, Jody, and then they just kind of linger and they think it might be, hey, here's a convenience store, 2,000 square feet, and then they wander
Right.
and they say, whoa.
Exactly. You go in the front and it is, a traditional convenience store, right? We have wonderful, all the traditional offerings of the convenience store. Plus we have great prepared food inside, but we also have a back entrance to the convenience store, which leads out to the Greenbelt area. And we have a great back patio. And so a lot of people, when they first come, they don't realize what all Wakepoint encompasses. And so when they venture out toward the water, it really is a wonderful, inviting environment. There's a couple of oak trees there that are, gosh, no telling how old. We've got numerous picnic tables set up for just people that want to eat outside, people that want to hang out, listen to music, have a cold beer or two. And then we have washer pits, which this is, so we have washer tournaments every year. So or every other weekend during the summer. So it's really a unique property. And then people coming from their boat, they initially pull up there. Obviously, we have fuel on the water. We have ethanol-free fuel, which is very important to them, being better for their boat. And this year, we're going to have 93 octane ethanol-free, which is going to be even better. But when they pull up, they get out of their boat. We have a little ship store down by the water where they can grab something that's very convenient instead of going all the way to the main store. And then a lot of times they tend to venture upstairs to the patio. And when they get up to the patio and get a really great view of especially in the evening at sunset. Uh, it's a really great experience, and people are very impressed. I mean, when we first developed it and opened it, the the common thing that people said was, we have been needing something like this on the lake for a long time. And that's kind of, continued through the years since we've been open. And it's just going to continue to get better because Scott always is thinking about how to improve the property and what we can do. And we discuss it, and he tells me what he wants done, and I get it done.
So, Scott, the average convenience store, somebody spends about 3 to 4 minutes at the pump, and they typically spend 3 to 4 minutes inside the store if they're going inside the store. I would imagine for some of the customers at Lake LBJ, 3 hours is on the short end, and it can be even longer. So when you sold your vision, this is what I want. We want people to linger. We want people to start their day in the morning here, perhaps come back on the weekend. It's basically the community focal point. How did that original vision change along the way, or did it? Did you have all these elements that are currently in place, or did you decide along the way to, hey, let's try this new, or let's try that new?
I think that's a great question, Jeff, because it's constantly evolving. I mean, and so much of it is evolving and was on the fly. The original vision was, and through the experience that I had, like Travis, is how do you combat the seasonality of the lake? I mean, we know we're going to have a great 7 months, but what do you do the other 5 months? How do you monetize that property for the other 5 months? So that's where the convenience store came in. And so to your question about, how it's evolved, we listen to our customers. We want, like you said, when they're spending time on that property, we want to have a lot of different offerings, a lot of different experiences. So when they're there, they're going to see something that they gravitate to, whether it's, great specials in the convenience store with our prepared foods, or the layout of the convenience store, which is fantastic. Spend time in the beer cave at the convenience store, or wander out back. And when you get out back, that's where you have the prepared foods for the restaurant concept. We have great Central Texas barbecue. Like Jody said, we do have the best sunset in Central Texas. So, do you want to get up on the deck and check out a sunset? Do you want to get out on the deck and being on the water, you get to see the boats passing by? During the season, we have fireworks shows 4 times a year. A great fireworks show, 15 to 20 minutes for all the big holidays. We have live entertainment on the Greenbelt. So the point is that when we're fortunate enough to have the customers bless us with their presence, then give them something that and have an offering for them that's going to appeal to them. And so whether it's adding homemade Bluebell ice cream, we added that this year or last year. For the new seasons, we're adding margaritas to go. You can do that in Texas, so adding that. The event space, just opening up that to the community, whether it's the community coming together for market days, or whether it's offering that property for car shows that roll through. This year, we're partnering with Mastercraft, and they'll be having on-site boats and boat demo days. The point being, having something for everyone. When they show up, whether it's by boat, want to go up and grab something to eat, whether it's get in the store to get something great out of the store, or the customer on the road that just happens to need to fill up their tank and they walk in the store, is there something else for them? The idea being is to just maximize the offerings for all the customers that venture to Wakepoint.
And if you can't find a reason to stop at Wakepoint on your way, well, I don't think anybody can help you, because there's plenty there for everyone. And Jody, so when we look at a place that has so many different offers all tied together under one roof, do you have any advice that picked up along the way? In how do you train people to tell that story? In how do you get all these systems to work together? Because it's literally half a dozen to a dozen different operations. I don't want to call it under one roof because it's under one open air area.
Right.
But how do you tie it all together?
Well, it's difficult, and it goes back to having good employees. We're fortunate in that we've had a group of employees that have been with us since we have opened. Employee turnover in the C-store business is historically extremely high, and we do have that. Because there are the seasonality of the lake, when we close down the spot, as we call it, in the live entertainment, unfortunately we have to let some people go. But we've got a good core group that have been there for a long time. They love Wakepoint, and able to tell the story of Wakepoint, but also, it just takes to manage all those different aspects. We break it down in basically three different business segments. We've got the convenience store, we've got the ship store, and then we have the spot or the open air restaurant. And so, you got to break things down into smaller components to be able to manage it. And that's what we do. So we, measure the profitability for each of those business segments, and then make necessary changes if something is not performing as it should.
So I want to go back to you, Jody, talking about food, fuel, food, and fun. Fuel and food are things that everyone in our industry sells. Fun, we all want to sell. Is there anything that you do to look for employees that can help sell that fun? Is there a trick you're allowed to share about how do you recruit or where do you recruit to ensure that the fun element is just part of every person who's working there?
Well, I think it's critical to hire people that have a positive outlook on life in general, and that are happier people, and that don't have a tremendous amount of drama going on in their life. And if you can find those people and, instill what, Wakepoint can do for them and what they can do for Wakepoint, and, instill a sense of ownership in those people. And if you can do that effectively, then your employees are going to be personal with your customers, that are going to greet them when they come into the store and tell them bye on the way out. It's just little things like that make the experience fun. Now, listen, when we have a great event during the summer, have a headline Texas entertainer, Jason Boland out, puts on a great concert. Well, the fun is going to come, but it's when we don't have anything going on to that magnitude that it's really the interaction of our staff and our customers that produce the fun. And Wakepoint is just a wonderful facility. I mean, the facility in itself can be entertaining. Just have your family on the green belt. Typically during the season, we have a bouncy house that's set up for the kids, and so parents can watch their kids play, or people are over throwing washers during our washer tournament. So it's just a relaxed, a very fun environment for people to kind of get away from the daily grind of what they do Monday through Friday.
Yeah, and to kind of build on that with Jody, I mean, we have some people that are really focused and really driven when it comes to the entertainment aspect. I mean, one of the things that we did and we do before every season a couple of weeks ago is we sit down, we plan our calendar. We have Kim Green who helps out with our events, as well as Crystal Staggs, who books all our entertainment. And we just get together and we just think of great events, whether it's, we have a little gospel Bible service that meets up on Sundays. Well, that has grown to where, Easter, there'll be 300-400 people out there for the worship service. And then we throw an egg hunt for the community where there literally be 700-800 people there. And just building on just everything through the year in the calendar, and having people that have that goal, that similar minded mindset of providing fun and just capitalizing on all whether it's the calendar, the events coming up, whether it's the holidays, and just having creative people there that look at that place with the same vision that we do, creating a fun experience, whatever it is, and just building around that facility, whether it be the events, whether it be concerts, what have you. So we do have a great staff. We have a very creative staff. And we have a staff that really, really, really is fun to be around and has a good mind when it comes to bringing fun to Wakepoint.
And I imagine it's pretty easy to come up with all these fun things, or not pretty easy. It's still difficult, but there's a little bit easier to think about all the cool things you can do in the summer. And for those who don't know what washer tournaments are, they are like horseshoes, but with washers, except very competitive from what I saw. But you talked about community, Scott. And the community is, I think, always a big part of our industry, but you could see it also at Wakepoint, where it's the gospel services, it's the recognition of high school students, it's all the other things you do that say, hey, we're the glue here, not just for those fun times, but all year round.
And I think that's important, and it's a challenge, but it's a challenge in a good way, because all of our leadership, our brains are always spinning about different ways to just open that place up. And whenever I talk to people, it's like, listen, come utilize Wakepoint. I mean, whether we're doing market days, we don't charge people to have their booths or tents set up. If they want to come and just have a car club show out there, there's no charge for that. They just get to come and use it. And that's the idea, is to make that space a hub for the community, and by opening that up to the people around Lake LBJ, whether they live there full time or the folks that live out there just during the season, has really positively impacted the business. People know that if they want to hold an event, or they need some sort of fundraiser, or they just have a great idea for entertainment, they know that they can come to us, and we'll do it with open arms. And then in turn, we support the community, and we support. I mean, if you follow our socials, you see that we're following the community, we're following the high school kids, and in turn, we open up Wakepoint for them, and it's really been a good collaboration for the community, for sure.
And I imagine that somebody's not going to go down the street to save 5 cents a gallon if that's the case. If you've involved them in a community event of some sort, you become something more than the place to get fuel or a snack or something like that. You're invested in each other. Do you hear those kind of stories, Jody, when you're at Wakepoint where somebody says, hey, you know what, this community event got me aware of you, and now I can't imagine going somewhere else?
I think so. We have we're not going to be the lowest cost convenience store in the area. And so people understand the facility we have there. They understand the community involvement that we do on a continual basis. And so you're always going to have the person that is going to shop around for gas, right? But for the most part, we've got a great solid customer base, and actually our sales per transaction, if you will, has continually gone up. And so people are buying more, they're staying longer, and I think they do, in fact, reward us with their loyalty and with their dollars for the community activity that we participate in the area.
Yeah, and just kind of dovetailing on what Jody said there, and we just, every year, the local newspapers, they throw the best of. The best of in Marble Falls, which was one of the nearer towns, or the best in Burnett County where we're at. And we just learned last week, I mean, this is no kidding, we are either first, second, or third in 40 categories and counting now. And we haven't even gotten through another 200,000 ballots in Burnett County, and they are just blown away by the recognition that the community has had for Wakepoint. And to Jody and the rest of our management staff's credit, we do have competing pricing strategies. When you're in the convenience store, our gas is competitive with some of the cheaper pumps around town. But when you get out on the water, there's a different pricing strategy, right? Convenience is convenience, and the convenience price at the store is very different than the convenience price on the water. And
yeah, there's not 150,000 gas stations on lakes.
There's not. But and it goes back to that. It is a convenience store business, and so paying for that convenience up at the store, paying for that convenience down on the water, and our management staff has done a really good job in monetizing that. So it's bringing all that together to really make the place what it's intended to be, right? Which is fuel, food, fun.
So if you're ever in the Austin area, it's about an hour outside of Austin, I believe, maybe a little longer. But you won't be there for 3 minutes. You will be there. I think, there for 6 hours, and I could have spent longer if I didn't have a flight to catch. It is a fun place. Check it out in the summer. Check out their calendar, and see where what you can learn from these guys. So, Scott and Jody, any final thoughts for what a retailer can do to kind of capture that experience that you guys have created?
Yeah, go ahead, Jody.
Well, I think it's just trying to differentiate your facility from everyone else, provide, great service, great product offerings, whether it be food and or retail offerings, and keep monitoring cost.
Yeah, just to add to that, it's the convenience store business is so competitive. You got to set yourself apart, and more, it's not just pricing strategy. We have a saying at Wakepoint, it's called fanatical service. Not great service, not good service, fanatical service. That's one way to set yourself apart. Another way is have some really great offerings, and that served us well and continues to serve us well. So that would probably be my best advice: fanatical service, different, distinct offerings to set yourself apart.
Well, if you can't make it down to the lake, we have the video from last year, but it's always really cool to be there. So thank you both for joining us today. It was a pretty cool conversation about a very cool store. So thanks for joining us today.
Convenience Matters is brought to you by NACS and produced in partnership with Human Factor. For more information, visit convenience.org.